Before Marvel felt the need to make a quip every 5 seconds. Before they limited serious moments. Before they deprived themselves of color. Before every single scene was filmed on a green screen. Before they stopped making actual suits. Before everything was a fucking joke.
There was darkness.
I walked out of Love and Thunder with a solemn heart. I felt defeated. No, I felt desensitized. I was tired of feeling disappointed over every project that has come out this year. Not hating everything, but thinking it was okay and did not reach the full potential it could have. I was tired of the jokes. I was tired of the lack of emotion. I was tired of when there is emotion, it does not feel earned because nothing is taken seriously. I was tired of everything feeling empty. Thor: The Dark World is the Marvel Cinematic Universe 2013 masterpiece. Nah, I'm just fucking with you, I wouldn't go that far. Thor: The Dark World is the Marvel Cinematic Universe 2013 okay, decent enough film that is honestly not as bad as people say. Look, it's definitely not The Godfather Part 2 or Back to the Future Part 2, hell, it's definitely not The Minions Rise of Gru. As sequels go, it's a bit underwhelming. I'm not dismissing that, but it's not this blasphemous war crime against humanity either. It's a too simplistic 1-0 film that has great moments, and to me those moments save the movie. And honestly, after coming out of Love and Thunder and after spending a few weeks reading some of my Thor comics, I had an ungodly, unholy, unfathomable urge to watch Thor: The Dark World. I can literally tell you the last time I felt an urge, a craving to watch this film. And it was the second time I watched it all the way back in 2013. Thor: The Dark World is a movie that I watch once a year when I usually do my MCU marathons, but that's about it. I've only watched the film twice before because I wanted to watch it individually apart from everything else. And I put it on again recently after watching Love and Thunder, and I genuinely had a lot of fun with it. First off, Tom Hiddleston just fucking owns this role, man. There is nothing else to say that hasn't already been said. So what I will say is I absolutely love what they do with this character in this movie. They have there be consequences for the actions he took in the Avengers. They use his punishments as a way to show some vulnerability to him. To show that deep down inside, all the things people say about him do hurt. Tom Hiddleston is definitely the crown jewel of this film, and the third act feels empty without him. In fact, Love and Thunder feels empty without him. His presence is such an important reason to what works for those films, that taking him out is unfortunately taking out a lot of the joy, fun, and emotion and deeper philosophical ideas that were upheld with his presence. Yeah, Thor: The Dark World isn't the most extravagant made film. Doesn't have the cinematography of Breaking Bad. Doesn't have whimsical editing like any of Edgar Wright's films. No insane camera work. It's very simplistic and shot on rigs and wide shots and does not try to break ground in any way. But damn, son, those sets are fucking beautiful. The makeup and the practical suits are perfect and don't feel silly. There's actual explosions, even if they look a little cheesy. They're filming outside in real areas, in real cities, and on real sets, not an overabundance of green screen, and there's no stupid gray saturated filter. I mean, look at Malekith. Easily one of the worst MCU villains there has ever been. But he actually has makeup and prosthetics. He and the Cursor and all the other Dark Elves today would have been completely CGI. The Dark Elves planet that has such a unique visual look would have been filmed on a green screen in an Atlantis studio. In fact, the sets, the props, and hell, even the actors in their action scenes would be CGI today. So yeah, even though it's not the peak of cinema, it definitely has things beyond the story that are mostly in the background to appreciate, especially compared to what we have been getting as of late. There's honestly nothing redeemable with these characters beyond their practicality visually, and that their ships look pretty fucking cool, honestly. They also get their own language and don't just speak English like every other being that is not from Earth, but I think they lack any true depth or motive. We never understand why they need it to be dark across all the dimensions. They can clearly live in light. I think to fix Malekith and his little posse, they could have made them deathly allergic to light. I know it's drastically different from the comics and probably the actual mythology, but it would actually make us sympathize with them that Asgard took away their light and basically sent them to their death, and then we would get more of a clear motive and maybe even back them up to a degree. And as all good villains go, you should understand them to a point until they take it too far. And then Malekith decides he's still pretty salty after he gets the reality stone and wants to fuck over Asgard, and then, you know what? Why stop there? Let's fuck over the whole 9 realms. If they made that little change, I think it would work, and I guess you could say the other part of the stuff I mentioned was present or alluded to in a way, but there really isn't much time with these characters to truly flesh them out. Instead, they focus a lot on Asgard is given way more time to be a character in this film, more than any of the other MCU films. You get a bit more of the daily going-ons of what their citizens do, you see more of their architecture, politics, and their landscapes and natural beauty. Yes, there could have been more to do with it, but what we got was pretty damn good. There is so much detail in every frame of Asgard, it actually feels like a fleshed out place. It feels real in a way that other movies cannot make it feel real. I also appreciate that the film spends a considerably less amount of time on Earth than the previous movies, and when they do go back to Earth, it's a very quick in and out. It seems like the movie itself does not want to be there. It's like it's self-aware about a lot of things if you look at it in a certain way. They limit side characters like Darcy and Selvig, and when they are around, it's to actually push the plot forward. This is going to be a little contradictory to what I said about Malekith, since I kind of complained that Malekith didn't have enough screen time to be fleshed out. But let's be honest, every time he's on screen, it's not that entertaining. And if they truly did not have any better material with that character on the cutting room floor to work with, then it's probably for the better that they just cut away from him as much as possible, knowing that people would just want to get back to Thor, Loki, and Asgard. There are a lot of entertaining character moments sprinkled in throughout the movie, and most of it stems from Thor and Loki. Watching them have to team up in the middle portion of the film was some of the best stuff. That one scene where the two of them are arguing on the floating boat was heartbreaking and had some breathtaking acting from both Hemsworth and Hiddleston. I'm going to round off some of my favorite scenes. Odin's opening speech, Loki's incarceration, Loki and Frigga talking in his cell, Jane being taken to the medical center, the Asgardian prison escape, Thor throwing Mjolnir after Frigga's death, Thor and Loki's escape, the already mentioned floating boat scene, Loki's second death, the ending scene. There is so much stuff in here to like, and yeah, there's a lot to be bored of, to be quite honest, but no one does talk about these other moments. They are forgotten, just like the film itself. Even with all the film's flaws and the simplistic nature of it, I look back with heavy nostalgia at my personal favorite phase of the MCU, Phase 2 to be exact. And I was happy that MCU stories were expected to have mature and serious moments. They were okay with darker subject matter. Not everything was a joke. I understand that one of the reasons why not only Thor the Dark World, but the first Thor film and Thor as a character was not hitting that emotional connection people have had with Captain America or Iron Man. But isn't making every horrible thing that has happened to him as a character a joke, and then making that character solely an idiot to get a laugh out of an audience, tarnishing his character more than something like a Thor the Dark World? At least this film took its character seriously. And that's honestly the least you could ask for with these type of films, where we're more there for the characters than the plot, I suppose. It does not mean that the plot should be bad, but like I said, the main thing they should worry about is their characters and what story will make the audience the most emotionally compelled and draw to this particular person. When they strip any sense of realism or seriousness, there can be a humongous disconnect. It felt nice to go back and watch something that felt so tangible, not so humorous, and yeah, for better or worse, more serious. In conclusion, Thor the Dark World is far from a perfect film, but it has a surprising amount of thrilling and emotionally touching or complex moments that truly do shine out and save the movie from being a complete and utter boring wreck. Sure, when the movie is boring or dull, it really is, but when it's good, it's so fucking good. It elevates Thor's humanity, explores by showing, not telling, Loki's complexity. It pushed Asgard in the forefront and made it an actual character through practical means without ever over-relying on CGI. The villain, while bland and forgettable, is at least not so prevalent in the film and is not covered in CGI. And yes, for better or worse, the film has a serious tone that respects its characters, and for that, it's not worth the abundance of hate it gets. So go back, Give it a chance one more time. I don't know. Might just surprise you.